In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, and thank be to Allah. And peace and blessings be upon the best of the creatures, Prophet Muhammad and his companions and his family as well. Dear viewers, from here, from Mina's site, where the group of pilgrims are launching their moving, praise be to Allah, and answering the call. Praise and grace and gratitude be to Allah. This is Mina. This is Mina, where you are observing through the screens. I talk to you about calling for the prayers when calling Allah for Ibrahim to call for the prayers. What a great of a speech, and how holy is the one who conducted this speech or this call. We're supposed to stop at this and we talk about what Allah put on Ibrahim's words. Before calling for the prayers, prayer, He prepared this place for Abraham to erect his house. How did Allah guide Abraham to erect his house? How did he reach where the time had not any maps? And to make him, to guide him, and this is the guidance of Allah Almighty, and told him not to be blasphemous and purify his house and his place with an order stipulated by Allah Almighty, and a method that He prepared for him. When he reached to this place, he had Hajar and Ismail to go along with him. They were overpassing all the difficulties and the burdens to reach to this place. When Abraham reached to this place, Allah ordered him to return, but his two companies didn't return with him. Abraham have moved, observing Allah's orders, because Abraham will not look at a wife or a son, because the echo of the calling of Allah Almighty prevails upon all calls. And he will turn his back to his wife and son, observing Allah's orders. And he found out that the matter is serious. And then Hajar, she followed him and she called him. Abraham, Abraham, Abraham. She was calling him. Allah had ordered you to leave us here. Abraham had answered, and he nodded with his head, and he whispered with words that Allah will not leave us alone, calling for prayers among people. Those are the greatest scenes, the sacrifice scenes. Allah had ordered us to leave us here. He nodded with his head, yes. Then Allah will not leave us. She returned back along with Ismail for another story, calling for prayers among people. Coming back to the story of Abraham, after he left them, he came back to observe Allah's order to come back to them in a different situation where Allah Almighty needed from Ibrahim to erect Allah's house, to erect the pillars with his son. May Allah accept from us. You are the all-knowing, the hearing. Abraham is handing and putting one brick after the another, to put this building together. It is the greatest building of all times, and it manifests Allah's greatness and the miracles. And Allah had increased the honor by purifying his house. And when Abraham erected the pillars of this house and supplicating, please Allah, accept from us, you are the all-knowing, all-hearing. This was not a matter of jealousy in their hearts, but this was a matter of humiliating themselves while supplicating to Allah. Please, Allah, accept from us. You are the all-knowing, all-hearing. Calling for peoples for prayers is the third stage, which followed Hijrah, immigration, erecting the house. After he was requested by Allah Almighty to call for prayers among the people and invite people to visit this house. O Abraham, call for prayers. Abraham has answered, O Lord, what if my voice didn't reach? There was only 3 persons, Abraham, Hajar, and Ishmael. If Ibrahim called for the prayers, all those around it will be hearing him. But he wanted him to have an eternal calling, a holy prayer, which all the senses would feel. When Abraham had climbed to the mountain of Qubis and he started calling for prayers, after Allah had took over the conveying the message, Allah conveyed the calling of Abraham among all the people. The strongest channel in the earth cannot be able to transfer all of the parts across the earth, but Allah had Abraham to call and convey this message, and he ordered him to call in Arabic or in this Syrian language. And he ordered him to call until the last day. And for those who are talking in Arabic and Syrian and the Farsis from all parts of the world, they're coming along together to praise Allah in one language. They say, Allah, we answer your call. We answer your call. You are the one who doesn't have a partner. Grace and praise be to you only. Across times, the call of Abraham was answered by the Farsi and the Arabic, the old and the young, the rich and the poor. All of those had answered Allah's call. On the mouth, on the words of Abraham as well, the messengers and the prophets as well, famous celebrities, all of them, they came to this place to end up in this place. With all those who answered the call, there are also those who are answers. There are Imran as well. The Prophet Muhammad said, as if I look at Moses bin Imran, and I can see that he's answering the call. And also Jesus, the son of Mary, peace and blessings be upon him. As Prophet Muhammad had said, he would humiliate, make Jesus Christ to be a pilgrim also. This place will not be haunted of those who are answering the calls and the pilgrims. until the message of the pilgrimage had came along. Prophet Muhammad also, peace and blessings be upon him, he is the one among Abraham's offspring. At one time, Allah ordered his prophet to come out in this only pilgrimage that has never been repeated. That's why we can call it a universal event which not is going to be repeated. And he was obliged, and his companions as well, that the prophet is going to be out for the pilgrimage, and no one in his house or around him stayed at home, but they followed him, which and this event which is not going to be repeated. Over 100,000 people went out with the prophet, going into a convey, a blessed convey. When they reached the Wadi al-Aqiq, a revelation came down with Jibreel, peace and blessings be upon him, to tell the prophet, peace be upon him, enter the state of consecration and perform pilgrimage to prophet. He answered the call of Abraham. Then he performed ablution, and he wore the garment. He wore the garment. Whatever the prophet ordered concerning the meaning of servitude is in its perfect forms. Ibn al-Jawzi said that those who are entered the state of consecration to enter in the garments of the poor. Oh, your money and your sons, they're not going to make you any closer to me, to Allah Almighty. He entered the state of consecration with garments doesn't exceed the amount of 4 dirhams only. It doesn't have any form of hypocrisy. And the companions as well, looking at the prophet, when he started answering the call, they started answering the call as well. That was nothing but answering the call of Abraham, calling for people call for the prayers among the people, answering the call, oh Allah, answering your call, oh the one who doesn't have a partner. Pilgrimage and boons are all be to you. You have no partner. We answer your call. I'm answering your call, Allah, and we thank and gratitude be to you. The Prophet answered the call, and the companions also went along with him, groups and individuals, and the revelation came down again that Allah, He would love to hear this answering, and all the worships must be erected. And Jibreel told him, Allah had ordered you to order your companions to raise their voices by praising and answering this call. And he triggered the enthusiasm, and he told them that no one will be humiliated if he answers the call, or who praise Allah Almighty. So the answering is not a humanitarian answering, but also the objects also answered the call. A break, we will continue for the call of the calling of Abraham.
والنعمة لك والملك شريك لك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك وأذن في الناس
And call for prayers
وترنم به
and repeat it.
أطرب المسامع املأ الأجواء
Make their ears pleasant.
يأتوك رجالا بالله
At the pilgrimage, everyone will come answering this call.
على أسماعنا العسل
As if you
عليه الصلاة والسلام استجابة
throw honey to our ears.
عن يمينه ومن
When the Prophet called everyone from the left and right among his companions, they answered, following the torch of guidance and the accompany of the Prophet. And this is the greatest trip of belief that may a person go through. His words had triggered the enthusiasm within all the senses, all around, and they started to fill all the valleys with this calling of prayers. Whenever they're moving, standing, they were still calling for prayers. Praise and grace be upon you, all Almighty. You have no partner. Even the objects will be happy when they hear or when it hears the call for prayers. As for the believers, the believer will be cry for the emotions had filled him because of the status that he went through while he was praying and worshiping. No believer would call for the prayers without a tree or an object on his left, on his right, that would still call and answer the call for prayers with this believer. Among them, they were praising Allah during those 10 days, saying, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. There is no God but Allah. Allah is the greatest, and thank and gratitude be to Allah. When the servant called for Allah, the whole world would shake. When he called, he will recall the call of Abraham, peace and blessings be upon him. The believer would come and would hasten, answering for this call, to telling Allah that the goodness between your hand. The companions had proceeded with the longing in their hearts, answering the call of Abraham, peace and blessings be upon his family and upon him. There is another longing to Mecca that they left, which it was behind them after they immigrated to Al-Madinah. All those roads with Mecca and with its valleys and mountains, where they had a pleasant staying in, they left it behind. There was a goodness had been coming out of its corners. The Prophet is coming. When he left it, after it occupied a piece of his heart, saying that you are the most loving place to my heart.
ستكون المشاعر عند أول لقاء.
So how would you imagine the meeting
حديث العبرات والخلجات
after
عند الالتقاء
coming
بمكة.
and
عندما
visiting
تستيقظ
Mecca?
المشاعر، شعور بالشوق إلى الله عز وجل.
This is
شعور بالشوق
a
لأداء
feelings
العبادة. شعور
and
بالحنين
longing
إلى مكة.
to Mecca.
ينتهي النبي عليه الصلاة
The Prophet
والسلام
ends
إلى مكة ويدخلها
to
صلى الله
Mecca.
عليه وسلم دخول الفاتحين.
He's entering it
سبحانه وتعالى
as he is conquesting Mecca,
لأن العبد لن يأتي إلى الله
because the servant, he will not come
بأرفع من مقام العبودية التي
coming
أثبت
to Allah
سبحانه وتعالى على نبيه
with better than the status of servitude.
عبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى
Grace
المسجد
be to
الأقصى.
his prophet that he's ascended from the dome of the rock up to the highest heavens.
عليه وآله وسلم. ويطوف الناس وقد
The people will
عقدوا
perform
أبصارهم
circumambulation,
بشخص النبي عليه الصلاة
aiming their visions to the prophet
والسمت سمته
Muhammad.
دل
It's his sacrifice, and the teachings are taken from him.
ما أن يؤدي شعيرة إلا وهو يقول
And he would never perform any worship without reminding us that of taking the rituals from me.
وبالبيت طاف يونس وطاف الأنبياء
Yunus had performed circumambulation as well.
وحوله السابقون الأولون من
And
المهاجرين
a lot of the immigrants and those, the victorious ones, and the companions and the family also would perform with him the circumambulation,
لا يروعهم إلا دمعات مرسلة
with the tears filling their eyes
عليه الصلاة
and at the Prophet's eyes,
والسلام. يا رسول الله
asking him, "What happened? What's wrong with you, Prophet?"
عليه الصلاة
The
والسلام.
Prophet would answer,
يا عمر
"Oh Umar,
هنا تسكب العبرات. يا عمر
here
هنا تسكب العبرات. من اختزن أدمعه
whoever
من اختزنها
held his tears,
يسكبها في هذا الموضع.
he should pour them in this place, in this sacred place,
لأنه هنا حصريا
because here
تكفر السيئات.
the sins will be wiped,
هنا تلتقي الأرض بالسماء.
where the heaven meets with earth.
هذه الكعبة التي يؤمها
This is
المسلمون من
the
جميع
house
أنحاء العالم. هذا الحجر هذا
where
المقام، هذا
where
الحجر،
all the
هذه
worshippers
زمزم،
directing their intentions
اجتماع الناس
to it,
عندها.
where all the people meet,
لبيك.
answering your call, "Oh Allah, you are the one without a partner. Praise and grace be to you.
لك والملك لا شريك لك.
You are the one without a partner."
والله يطوف صلى الله
While the
عليه
Prophet
وآله
is performing the circumambulation,
الركن اليماني.
he will take the right side,
ثم
and then
يطوف صلى الله عليه
he
وآله
would
وسلم
continue performing circumambulation and kissing the black stone. What is the story of this black stone? Those are the principles of Abraham, where he erected the house. The story would continue,
بإبراهيم عليه الصلاة والسلام.
starting from Abraham,
إذن
when he erected the house.
إبراهيم التي أقامها
The pillars of Abraham still witness
الحجر الأسود
at the black stone and at the right side.
يمسح عليهما أو يشار
This when he wiped with his hand.
التي لم تكن على قواعد إبراهيم ولم تكن على قواعد إبراهيم لأن كفار قريش
And those pillars were not at
قصرت بهم النفقة فلم يقيموا جوانب البيت الأخرى
the blasphemous. They couldn't be able to continue building because the cost was decreased.
من حداثة الناس فقال لعائشة لولا أن قومك
And the Prophet told Muhammad,
لنقضت الكعبة وأقمتها على قواعد إبراهيم.
if the people didn't have any idea about the importance of this house, I would erect it myself.
يا لله.
And he would kiss the black stone. This black stone was a piece of the paradise on earth,
أبيض من اللبن
came to this earth as clear as the milk.
يتذكر العبد
And it became black because reminding the worshipper that the sins of people had filled the earth.
فيستعتب المولى سبحانه
So one will remember his own sins.
به بالاستغفار
And that's why one will remove
الإنابة والتوبة والرجوع
any sins by seeking forgiveness and repenting to Allah Almighty.
النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام
The Prophet made it the worshipper. When the worshipper came across it, he will remember his sins. Then the Prophet would continue his circumambulation, and then he will end at Abraham's status. And he would pray, and he would start by two verses. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, and oh, you blasphemous. It's the status of worshipping Allah Almighty. And the monotheism and loyalty. Praising Allah, the one that He doesn't have a partner. There is no counter, or no partner, or no anyone like Him. My life and death are to Allah Almighty. That's why I was the one who was ordered. The one who doesn't have a partner is a status of answering that call. You have no encounter. You have no partner. And whoever believed in a partner of me, I will leave him in his blasphemy. And He will, Allah Almighty, He would purify all the sides of this house for His worshippers and those who are prostrating and bowing. Allah, He performed two prayers, two prostrates. All those, they are following the Prophet of what he did. And he moved himself to Mina. You pleased my heart with this longing and the calling for Safa and Zamzam. I heard that calling. Whenever I looked at Arafat, that hour of pleasant is filling my existence. I know that these statements will manipulate your feelings, but I know that sometimes excuses may prevent you from reaching here, but we have to mention this longing and to evaluate those longings. Even those tears has its own value or have its own values. Those people who are longing for this place, their eyes are filled with the tears of longing. And there is no doubt that Allah Almighty will value those tears. While you are there, I may ask Allah that will not deprive you from these blessings. We will stop for a break and we will continue the rituals.
To the viewers of Iqraa in the world, greeting from Mina Valley. If you don't miss the standing with us here, the recompense will not leave you without it, and evaluates the ears of the eye, and it is beautiful to remember with the proclaim of Ibrahim. The Prophet leaves Mecca to Mina and sleep in Mina on the 8th Dhul-Hijjah, which is tomorrow, the Tarwiyah day. The scholars called it as it is called Tarwiyah because the pilgrims used to quench their thirst from thirst. And I hope to add the new meaning, and that the pilgrim who is longing to see, to quench his heart as the best night, waking the great date or of appointment. It is very slow for those who are longing for it. They calculate their hours and moments and the night because of so worries, and which are the worry of meeting and the morning which will come the day before this night. It is exceptional day. It is not as other days. They say this night very long. And until the morning, they will enter a happy day, Arafah day. They will go to that place, a great place where God likes to see the people in that place, and every place to be the Muslim to be clean, nice looking and perfumed, clean, except in this site. God likes to see the effect of the traces of poverty and humility, and he is proud of the dust on your face and your body. God evaluates this, and this dirt and dust on your body and your clothes. God likes it. Day of Arafah is exceptional by all measures. God becomes closer to his servants and says to the angels, these are my servants, they are from me and to me, and he relates them to himself. How great is that lineage to be if I when I am under your servants, they are hate, and they are dusty, and they uncovered their heads in humility and in obedience. What do they want? And the answer comes from the earth, not from heaven. They say to their God, we want your mercy, your satisfaction, your forgiveness, and we want to give us offerings and graces. We wanted to respond to your call and to carry out the obligation. And God, at the night of Arafah, oh my angels, I testify you that I have forgiven them. There is no, the devil becomes mean and very broken, and he sees all the offerings because the heaven is open on Arafat day, and the offerings are great, but they are increasing on Arafat day. There is no other day where the freed slaves in the day of Arafah. The miserable man who thinks that God will not forgive him on Arafah day. They repeat the best words. The best what I said, I and other prophets, there is no God without any partner. All praise, grace, and sovereignty is all to God. And the situation of Abraham, the meaning of monotheism in chanting labbaik and praying 2 rak'ahs behind the station of Abraham, and the monotheism on the day of Arafah, the witness day. Then the servant gaze, there is no God but Allah alone, without any partner. All praise, grace belongs to Allah. If on the night of Arafah, the group, the Abyad, the black, the Arab, and the non-Arab, more than 2 million people, they are invoking and supplicating to God, and he listens to everyone. there is no voice will be away from him, and he knows all languages. Peace be upon you.
تفضلي أم حسان.
أم حسان.
أم حسان تفضلي.
الو.
نعم.
نعم أسمعك تفضلي.
السلام عليكم.
Peace be upon you.
ورحمة الله وبركاته. تفضلي.
أن تدعو لنا أن يرزقنا الله والحج.
Supplicate God, and the pilgrims will supplicate for you, and she is asking him to supplicate for her to perform Hajj, and those who are standing here is supplicating for Muslim men and women, and we hope that he will decree you a pious pilgrimage. Please supplicate for my children, and that your words will be reached hopefully from Algeria, from Morocco, from Tunisia, from Egypt, from Yemen, from the Gulf, from the East, from the West, from China, from the last point in the USA, from every place. They all hope to be with us in this blessed place, and they say, if you moved as bodies, we have moved as spirits. These are great feelings and proclaim people for pilgrimage. I go back to Arafat, and we to talk about Arafat is endless. Everyone is asking God, saying, "Oh God, oh God," and God will respond to him.